Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. The video's not ready, but that's okay. We can talk for a moment. You'll know when the video is ready because it just starts playing as soon as it exports. So it's only going to be just a little bit longer. It's almost done. So one thing we're not going to talk about today is Judge Fleischer's courtroom. I mean, we're going to talk about Judge Fleischer's courtroom all day. That's fine. No problem with that. But we are not going to talk about Judge Fleischer's courtroom. And if you know what I mean, you should be good with that. If you don't know what I mean, Discord is the place to get answers, not this stream. This stream is not the appropriate place to get answers to questions about Judge Fleischer's courtroom today. Just today. Yeah, yesterday. Thank you, Donald. Yesterday. Whatever happened in Judge Fleischer's courtroom yesterday is not in this stream. Although we are going to talk about Judge Fleischer's courtroom yesterday because he had a full docket. I think what did he say, guys? 128? 128 people were on his. Now, it's not the most. I've seen him with 141, I think. That's the highest I've seen him. But we've only been watching Judge Fleischer for less than a year now, believe it or not. It feels like he's our old friend that we've been with forever and ever, but man, it's been less than a year. He really does like change things, doesn't he? Overnight, he just changes things. Yes, that's a great idea. Just, you know what? Nobody ask any questions. Oh, man. Man, you know why it was traumatizing. He does. He does. Oh, I hear my baby's crying. 96.7%, guys. So, oh, there we go. It's
Good
ready.
morning, Mr. Donahue.
So, we're going to stay in Harris County, Texas all day today, but we're not going to stay with Judge Fleischer all day today. We're just going to end with him like normal because he normalizes us after all the crazy. We are going to see Carl today, and nothing crazy happens in Carl's clip at all. But I learned a lot. I thought it was really interesting, and I learned a lot. So that's what we're going to play. Poor Carl lose. Yeah, I already said it, so it doesn't matter. You already know. I mean, once you hear the hearing, it's not a surprise. It's not like a shocking ending. But we learn we learn a lot about extradition, which is kind of boring, but not this. This part's not boring. It is a little bit long, but that's okay because we get to hear Carl the whole time and another lawyer from courtroom. I don't know. It's District 184, but I don't know what courtroom it is. You and me both, Jody. You and me both. I don't know. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? I like it. Oh, Hope. Thank you. Thank you, Hope. It's turning green, guys. Casey Carey, you ain't old. You ain't old. Sorry. All right, let's get started. Hopefully that fixed the sound. I know, Jazzy. You're 19 now. You're old. It's all downhill after 18. Casey, thank you. See, I told you he ain't old. Old people could never buy a membership to an electronic, something that they can't hold on to. You're never gonna see that. What do you mean by a membership? You just press play. Why you gotta buy a membership for? Uh, okay, but what hurts? Like, what hurts right now? Does anything hurt? If someone asked me what hurts at any given point in time, I can name 10 things easy. Easy. I I broke okay. Remember last month or a month before I broke this hand? I broke this hand 4 weeks ago. I didn't say anything because it's enough. It's enough. My body needs to stop. See? Oh my, oh my, oh my. Anyway, let's get to the getting. Let's get to the getting.
Good morning, Mr. Donahue.
Hi, Judge, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Judge. Just, Carol on top of Jack Carroll, and also like, Frank, the circuit code.
Okay, what's her last name?
The circuit code, SERPICO.
Okay, okay.
My understanding is today, she was entering into the PTI. She arrived at 9:15.
Okay, come on up, ma'am. Good morning. Okay, well, Mr. Nixon, when's the last time she was tested? Serpico. What are her conditions of the PTI?
Intensive outpatient or support outpatient.
Okay,
Probably like the TRAS suggested those,
okay,
and with no new offense, not failing the drug tests. Up here as directed.
okay. Ma'am, are you gonna test positive for anything today? No. Okay. Before we enter into this contract, I'm gonna have you go down and, oh, I remember Miss Serpico. Okay. No. That's not what's going on.
Oh, I remember her. Okay. No, this isn't how this is going to go. If you hear a judge say that in front of you, you're in trouble. You are in trouble.
Miss Regina, I need to see you for a second. Uh-huh. No, this is a case that we staffed about Miss Serpico. And it was originally a PTI, but after going and meeting with the probation department, they recommended that Miss Serpico participate in inpatient treatment. Okay, just no, ma'am. Just have a seat in the box for just a second. Just have a seat, calm down. Okay, so
You go sit in the
I
box.
was unable to learn.
I see. Okay, so it looks like she has already entered.
Oh, so did
into-
I. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she entered into this agreement back in July. And correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Regina, when Miss Serpico went down to
Yes, but I love Donald.
for her first visit, they noticed some substantial mental health issues. And their understanding was that there was a lot of minimization that happened when she initially did her TRAS. And so they recommended that she actually participate in, was it DDRP, Miss Regina? Because of how extensive her mental health issues and drug issues were. So that's why we're here today. Apparently she was talking like.
Did you see his little eyebrows go up? He had no idea. All right, hold on. We're going to back that up 10 seconds. Watch what happens to his little eyebrows when the judge says, that's what we're doing here today.
Drug issues were. So that's why we're here today.
It was while she was saying his
Apparently
eyes
she
went.
was talking like hallucinating at her office visit.
What's wrong with hallucinating?
Yeah, it says that we believe that the client did not fully divulge the extent of her drug use and mental health use during her TRAS assessment, and we want to bring this to the Assistant District Attorney's attention as client appears to be in need of a clinical assessment to screen for DDRP and mental health caseload. So that's why we ordered her here today. So she's gonna have to do now a clinical TRAS to see if she qualifies for DDRP or one of the other inpatient treatment programs. So
Judge, she did comply when I let her know that she should be here.
No,
She did comply.
I won't believe it.
Would the court allow her to remain in custody,
Mhm.
remain on bond,
Mhm.
waiting for the evaluation?
That's gonna be contingent on her drug test.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. So come on up, ma'am. Okay, the first thing I need you to
found
do
out
is
I
just take a
can't.
deep breath. Okay. The reason we brought you back to court is because there has been an issue that's been identified, and we want to give you the help that you need. Okay. And sometimes when you're in situations, you may not necessarily see the issues that are going on. And sometimes it takes an outside perspective to see the visible issues that you have. So when you reported to your officer noted that you displayed significant mental health issues, as well as, I think you tested positive. Did she test positive, Miss Regina?
Yes, no, she refused to do the test. She
Okay.
admitted, she admitted a history of meth use, and she had recently had a previous overdose for fentanyl before. And when they sent her to the UA, she refused to do it.
Okay, so that's what the officer just, again, sometimes people are so quick to respond that they're not listening, okay? They are reporting, and I don't have any reason to believe that these people would just be lying on you, okay? That this is what you disclose at your office visit, okay? So I'm concerned about that. And based off of that, I need you to complete a drug test today, okay? Can we have somebody walk down with her? Because I don't trust that she's gonna come back.
Oh, wait a second.
Can we have somebody walk down with her to a bailiff? Can you ask Thomas? Mhm. Okay, and did you want to, you probably need to speak to your attorney before you say anything. You have counsel, you need to speak with your lawyer, okay?
In a jury box.
Mhm. Thank you.
For a case file 174, in a second, Your Honor.
I think he was telling me about this.
Yes, ma'am. So, there's your docket this morning, Judge.
Mhm.
Still, Alex, probably Alexis, but it's a typo.
Mhm.
Case still here, short conference. I've discussed the case with Charlie before I approached. There's some, photographic evidence that has to be seen on the second floor. I'll be in, tasked with looking at that.
It is in,
Big pardon?
it is in,
Yes, ma'am.
it's in the states.
Yes, ma'am. It's
Possession.
something that can't be shared. It has to be just viewed.
Sure. And then what about the phone dump from the complainant?
Yes, ma'am.
That is what is I can't pass it on.
Okay. There is an offer, 8 TDC or PSI.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And what
so,
Jack has asked me to do is to set the case for trial.
mhm, okay.
And then, separately, Judge, would the court consider the supervision condition of the curfew?
What is it currently?
The curfew currently is 7 in the morning as the earliest you can leave and and 9 o'clock being the latest you can arrive home.
Mhm.
I confirmed with the client that he could conceivably sacrifice all day Sunday. If the court would consider letting him, he's an HVAC tech,
Mhm.
and he goes to San Antonio also
Mhm.
to work on. I mean, if he would, he has not gone. If he could, he's a subcontractor. If the general contractor called him and he had to go to Dallas, there conceivably times where he'd have to. If he were offered the opportunity, he would be able to evaluate the job in one day and come back and work and finish it the next day.
Okay,
It's Harris
So,
County,
If he could be
Texas.
allowed to not have a curfew Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday all day he'd be home.
what are the days of the week where he has a curfew now?
Monday through Sunday, all
Okay.
days, 9 PM at the latest, and then 7 AM.
Okay, Why don't we do it on a case by case basis? So if he does procure a job out of county and the job requires him to be at the location at, let's say, 9 o'clock, the court even via Zoom to ask the court to amend the curfew so that he can leave earlier.
I thought he was talking about her.
Thanks, Judge.
That was a prior case. Now she's coming up.
Yes.
There she is.
Okay, ma'am, you're gonna go down to 49 San Jacinto, and I need you to complete a urine analysis, okay? So when you get down there, I don't want to see any of the games. I've seen it all. I can't go to the restroom. Just go take the test and come right back here. If you don't come right back here, there will be a warrant issue for your arrest. And once there's a warrant issue for your arrest, the officers will come find you. So come right back here. If you don't, I am issuing a warrant.
Judge,
Mhm.
would the court consider taking a plea for time?
Time served on what?
On the charge,
What is,
one.
it's a state jail or a third degree?
It's a state jail.
I think she needs treatment.
I had a set.
Right now, you don't have it.
Okay, this is why you have a lawyer, okay? And so, sometimes people want to take what seems to be the easier way out by just pleading, okay?
I have a daughter for 8 days. I take care of somebody with ALS, and I also have a 7-year-old daughter that I'm getting back to the house, so.
Okay, and so do you think that the way you get your daughter back is by testing positive for drugs? Or do you think the way that you get your daughter back is by participating in treatment and not having a felony conviction on your record? Which one do you think will benefit you in the long run? Having a felony conviction on your record because you're just taking a plea deal right now, or actually participating in substantive mental health and drug treatment? You don't have to answer it because it's clearly the answer is the obvious, okay? So I understand that you work, but in order for you to maintain a job, because a lot of people don't hire individuals who have felony convictions. That's why you were given the opportunity to complete a PTI, and a PTI will result in your case being dismissed. So the court is trying to consider your best interest in the long run, not just right now. So if you're just concerned about just getting out of here and you don't care if you have a felony conviction, that's your prerogative. But if you actually want to figure out how you can get your child back down in the long run, how you can actually be a sober human being who's addressing their mental health treatment, I would advise you to listen to the court's instructions. So you're going to see the gentleman in the gray shirt. He'll give you instructions on where to go down. He's right behind you. I'm not entertaining a time served. You need to participate. You're too young, ma'am, to have a felony conviction. Just see the gentleman in the gray shirt and take a deep breath, okay? He'll give you instructions. All right. Okay.
Okay, so she didn't deal with any of her, like, she never came back. So I don't know if like it all happened on the side, or she took her drug test and never came back, or she didn't take her drug test. She never came back. So I don't know. But here's Carl. And Carl's about to stand up and he's about to teach us some stuff, guys. Well, not him, his witness.
Let's see. Okay, can I see both sides on this? Alejandra Aranda case. Can you remind me your name? I'm sorry. Miss Ibarra, okay. Are you gonna be handling the hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
We're also going to find out his name is not Carl, guys. His name is not Carl. His name is Mr. Pruitt. Not once do we hear a Carl floating around. It's just Mr. Pruitt this and Mr. Pruitt that and Mr. Pruitt this. Yep.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pruitt. Thank y'all for coming back. Okay, can we get him sworn in?
Overruled.
Good afternoon, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony which you may give in this hearing will be the truth? The whole
Yeah,
truth,
as
and nothing but
Carl.
the truth, so help you God. All right, you can place your hand down. Is there any other, are there any other supplemental motions that y'all have filed?
Judge, we have entered into a stipulation of evidence that I just tendered to the clerk,
Okay,
which is probably.
okay, let's get on the record. You can have a seat, officer. Thank you. We're on the record and is this is the criminal case number? One, B, okay. Okay, we're on the record in cause number 165777B, the state of Texas versus Alejandro Aranda for the motion for new trial. So really, the motion for new trial should have been denied because of the 75th day deadline, because that would have been August 31st, but I just sua sponte granted it under,
The motion, I believe, was timely filed. I didn't see that you had granted one
just for the hearing,
to allow the hearing to happen.
to allow the hearing to happen. That would have been, because technically it's denied under 329B. Because it would have been 75 days since the filing. When was the filing? 6/16/2024.
I believe it would have been 75 days from the date of the final judgment that was entered. And
What was the day of the final judgment?
June 6th, 2024.
Okay. So what's the 75th day? Mhm. June 6th. Yeah, either way, either date, this is still past the
Ability for you to grant a new trial.
well, yeah, just, yeah, because it's denied by operational law under
Hi, Louise.
329B. Now subsection E allows me to grant an additional 30 days, and which would be until September.
We're within that window, Judge.
We
That
are.
was the window we were-
Mhm. Okay, so you're asking me to hear it under the subsection BE.
I would
You are, Mr. Pruitt, you,
The state
okay.
is not in agreement.
okay,
I'm asking you to hear it under that provision, Judge. When I spoke to Ms. Ibarra previously, she had.
yeah.
Well, the court had plenary power for 105 days
That almost sounded like Skittles there, but it's not, but it almost did.
after the final judgment was entered, if the court
Under BE. Mhm.
was willing to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, at this point, we're here. I know you all have exercised resources to get witnesses, so I'm gonna take it up. So what are essentially, what are the issues here?
Judge, the only real issue is the extradition expenses, whether or not they're reasonable and necessary. We've entered into a stipulation where we agreed that bonds were posted on March 29th. The bonds legally forfeited on August 3rd, 2021. And that the defendant was subsequently rearrested in Midland, Texas on September 7th, 2021. And that we filed a motion for remittiture, which no one agreed to because we did not surety agree to the extradition expenses of $4,800 being reasonable extradition expenses from Midland to Houston. The case was on the Fleischer docket. I, as attorney for surety, did not.
So in case you didn't hear what he said, this guy was sentenced in Harris County and got a bond, PR bond or a money bond, I don't know, was out on bond and then fled and got arrested in, I can't remember what the next county over. It wasn't, from what I understand, it wasn't that far away, but Texas is big, so I don't know. And he was extradited back to Harris County, and he was charged, what is it, $44,300 or $4,800 just to extradite him, just to physically drive, pick him up, and bring him to Harris County. $4,800. And Carl's saying, excuse me, Mr. Pruitt is saying, yo, that's too much money.
Here, and the court entered a judgment for courthouse plus interest, plus the extradition expenses of $4,800, and that was signed by Judge Hill. We timely filed a motion for new trial, and that's what we're asking you to seek review of here. And the only real issue, quite frankly, is whether or not the $4,800 is deemed to be reasonable extradition expenses from Houston
Mhm.
to Houston from Midland, Texas.
Not Wichita.
Not Wichita.
Midland, Texas
Midland, I
to
believe.
Houston,
Midland,
Texas.
I think it's about 426 miles.
According to PTS, it's 591.
According to what?
PTS, it's 591, but we'll kind of get into that when we get there. I'm sure there are several ways to get from Midland to Harris County.
This is, do you have any witnesses, Mr. Pruitt?
No, Judge.
Okay, just argument.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to call your first witness?
Yes, well, state would like to go ahead and offer states 1, 2, 3, and 4. in
Yes, ma'am.
record. We've stipulated to them, it's just a copy of the,
And I was wrong. Midland, Texas to Harris County, Texas would take 7 days if you walked it. 7 hours, almost 8 hours if you drove it. 2 days if you bicycle it. So they picked him up from Midland and drove him down to Harris County. 4,000.
bond in the forfeiture case, the final judgment, and then the invoice from PTS. I have all 4, I believe, already. with
And can you tell me what PTS is?
Yes, Prison Transport Service.
Thank you.
And so, Judge, would you like a copy?
I would. So any objections to
No
states?
objections, Your Honor. Those are all part of the stipulation we already entered into.
Thank you. Having no objections to states exhibit 1, 2, and 2, 3, and 4, they are admitted. And then with the stipulation, is this going to be offered as an exhibit by you, counsel?
It's just merely a stipulation of evidence of what I've already told you.
Sure, but are you offering it as an exhibit? No, just as a stipulation. Okay. I've seen it offered as an exhibit, which is why I asked. Okay. Okay. This will be offered as defense exhibit 1.
I'm just saying, if we all threw $10 in a pot, all of us, we would have plenty of money to start a prisoner transport business, guys.
And I imagine you have no objection.
No objection.
Okay. All right.
I know this is a little bit of a unique area of
Mhm.
law, so I just have the one provision. in case you want it from the
I do.
criminal
I appreciate-
procedure That, in short, it just says that they're responsible for return costs, and B, we all agree that the defendant was returned to custody. All of us are in agreement.
Mhm.
Everyone is on board with that. But B is what we're focusing on, which is what requires the surety to pay reasonable and necessary costs to the state for what they incurred in having to transport the defendant back.
Okay.
And then if the court's ready, state would call witness Deputy David Kern.
Okay. I'm ready.
This witness has been previously sworn in.
Thank you. Deputy. And if you can just spell your first name when the lawyer asks you to provide it for the court. And then the court reporter is taking down everything you say, so just make sure to speak a little slowly. Is the microphone on? Can you check? Nope, it is not. There we go.
Hi, Deputy Kern. Can you go ahead and give your full name for the record?
David Kern, David Kern.
And you're an officer employed with the Sheriff's Office Bonding Division, is that right?
Correct.
How long have you been there?
In the sheriff's office for 12 years and I'm bonding division for 4.
And are you familiar with the general practices surrounding inmates being returned to Harris County once they have been incarcerated somewhere else?
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that process. If a defendant has an active warrant in Harris County, but they get arrested out of county or out of state, what does the sheriff's office do to have them returned if they have an active warrant?
Depending on where they're at in manpower, we will either send our warrants deputies or use the prisoner transport service in order.
Use the what?
Prisoner transport service to return them to our custody.
And prison transport service, I know locally we call that PTS, is how we talk about that in short, right?
Correct.
Okay, and is that a government entity?
It is not, it's a private company.
It is a third-party private entity that you guys hire when you need.
Yes.
We're here today to discuss the costs for Alejandro Aranda that was returned back in 2022. It was a while ago, but are you familiar with that case?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hand you what's already been entered into evidence to the state's exhibit 4. I believe you've seen that before, right?
Yes.
What is it?
The invoice provided to us from PTS
Okay, and what's the date on the invoice?
is going to be 2/25/22.
And where was the defendant transferred from according to the invoice?
Midland, Texas,
And what was the total amount to?
$4,800.
Were you able to confirm that that $4,800 was paid from the sheriff's office to prison transport services?
Yes.
How did you do that?
Using the auditor's web portal, we're able to run the invoice number and show the payment was made.
Anytime Harris County has to use PTS transport for an inmate with a violent charge, what does that cost?
That is automatically $4,800.
So $4,800 is the minimum that PTS allows.
Correct.
It could be more than that.
It could be more, yes.
What happens on cases where there's not a bond forfeiture? Let's say there was just a revocation or another outstanding bench warrant and a defendant had to be returned from another county to Harris County. Who foots the bill?
Harris County fits that bill.
And in a bond forfeiture case, who foots the bill?
The bondsman is ultimately responsible for that.
But through a repayment process, correct?
Correct.
You guys pay up front, and at the end of the bond forfeiture proceeding, money is awarded back to you to cover that.
Correct.
I don't think I have any other questions.
Ask the witness.
Very quickly, does Harris County use PTS, Prisoner Transport Services of America, for all extraditions?
Not all extraditions.
And what other alternatives are there for pickup for persons incarcerated elsewhere?
But we have our own deputies assigned to warrants that are able to pick up prisoners from other counties. And we also have one other contract with another company that's used, is not used that much of PTS.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Amen. So I'm seeing that Wichita Falls in the motion, Mr. Pruitt. Are we talking about, is that the same? Are we talking about the same thing?
I apologize, I don't know where Wichita Falls is located in relation
Wichita
to
Falls
Midland.
is-
Excuse me, can y'all talk one at a time for me?
Apologies,
That's okay.
in your motion.
Page 4.
That may have been a mistake.
Okay.
Everything I have shows Midland. I don't
Okay.
know why Wichita Falls is in there.
Okay. I was just making sure we're all talking about the same thing. Okay.
No, same place he was extradited from.
Okay.
Yes, I have the booking screen from Midland, Texas. He was in Midland, Texas, not Wichita Falls.
Okay, well, I'm just wondering, because there's some language here that the extradition expenses were unreasonable, overreaching, and unfathomable for the cost to extradite, and is that based off of you saying that Mr. Aranda was traveling from that location, or is it?
No, it's from Midland, Texas.
Okay.
That should have been, that should have.
Okay, it's just a typo. All right. Okay,
Okay, Karen, I want to show you. Have marked as exhibit, defense exhibit 2, and ask you if you recognize that type of document.
Yes, as a jail verification.
And this is a jail verification form that was presented on this case back in January 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
All of my
And-
costs are unfathomable.
Is this document signed by you?
Yes, it is.
And what is it? What did you verify on this document?
The defendant was in custody and we got a hold place for that defendant.
Give me some space.
Okay.
This is a bill on verification form
okay,
indicating that a hold was placed on the defendant's principal in Midland, Texas, not Wichita Falls.
okay.
Um,
And so defendant's exhibit number 2 will be admitted. So the date of that you checked to see if there was a hold was on January the 17th.
Correct.
Did you need to see a copy of it?
It was verified by me on January 21st of 2022.
Gotcha.
And when was the detainer? The detainer was placed on him on September 7th. Is that correct?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I'll look back at my system.
And when was, do you recall when he was extradited to Harris County?
I do not. It was around February 22nd.
Somewhere there. And can you tell the court or explain to us why Harris County didn't use its own internal mechanisms as opposed to prisoner transport services?
That decision is not made by us. It's made through our warrants division.
Now, when Harris County uses its own internal forces to extradite people, it's substantially less than $4,800. Is that correct?
Usually, yes. There's factors that involve the cost.
Is there any justification given to you by prisoner transport services as far as how the expenses of $4,800 is determined?
It's within our contract that we have, any violent charge is automatically based on that $4,800 for that pickup.
And that's a flat fee.
Correct.
It has nothing to do with the mileage or the number of persons.
There is a mileage limit in the contract for that amount, but I'm not sure what it is on top of my head.
Nothing further this week, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Ibarra?
One more question for Krieger. If the sheriff's office doesn't either send someone or contract with a third party in time, what happens?
That holding agency has to release the defendant.
The whole agency.
The holding agency has to release the defendant.
So time is of the essence in these cases.
Correct.
And the sheriff's office decides to use and has a contract with prison transport services for a variety of cases that are not bond forfeitures.
Correct.
No further question.
Anything else, Mr.
Nothing,
Pruitt?
Your Honor.
Okay. May this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So is this what was presented at trial for the $4,800 to show that that's what the cost was for the transport?
So bond forfeiture facial cases have a prima facie case of just the nice I am the underlying bond.
Mm,
We use the warrant screen to confirm the amount. That
Mhm.
amount was given to Mr. Pruitt in notice
mhm,
a week prior to the docket day in a proposed final judgment.
I see.
There's no requirement that we file anything. I just brought that today, so the
Mhm.
court could see it and have it as part of the record.
Okay. Is there any new evidence, Mr. Pruitt?
Your Honor, the only new evidence I would have would be with regards to the default judgment that was entered. Sarah Fleischer's hearing and signed by Judge Hill. I did not personally appear at the Sarah Fleischer's hearing because it was not in my calendar, and I normally have everything in my calendar that I received notice of. There was an email that was sent to me per the district attorney's office, but I never did receive the email. It used to be before we would always receive notice of the Sarah Fleischer's hearing by certified mail with return receipt requested, but apparently that changed some time ago. And there was an email that was sent by the district attorney's office to my email address, but I never saw it and I never received it. I never calendared it, and that did not appear on the Sarah Fleischer's hearing to contest the hearing at that time. That's when the court entered a default judgment for the amount of the bond, not on the amount of the bond, sorry, court costs on the amount of the bond, pre-judgment interest on the amount of the bond, and the extradition expenses of $4,800. I had already made the district attorney's office aware that I had objected to that before, prior to the Sarah Fleischer's hearing, because we had filed a motion for a miniature, and they had sent me a judgment for the amount of cost plus $4,800, which I declined to. We were arguing about it, and it never was agreed upon. I was submitted to the court that the only reason that we did not appear is I did not have any notice of the hearing. Otherwise, I would have been here to contest the hearing at that particular time. Now, I do not doubt that Mr. Ibarra's office, the district attorney's office, did send an email to me, but I don't know if it was spam or if it was just unread or did not. I know that I did not receive it, which is why there was no appearance here on the Sarah Fleischer's hearing. With regards to the only real issue we have, and the only real issue I'm arguing about is the court, not the court costs and not the pre-judgment interest, but whether or not $4,800 is reasonable extradition expenses from Midland, Texas to Harris County. And Harris County uses its internal mechanisms as far as sending one or two deputies up there to Midland, Texas to transfer for prisoner transport. The costs are substantially less, and that's what we were basically. The only thing we were really arguing about today and presenting to the court is whether or not the $4,800 in extradition expenses that apparently prisoner transport service uses as a base, whether or not that is reasonable extradition expenses from Midland, Texas to Harris County.
Do you have any witnesses who would be able to testify on how much less the cost would be? I know he testified that they are less, but is there any evidence to show, the amount?
That would only be coming from the sheriff's office, and he can't say exactly how much less it would be. I do know that the extradition expenses from Midland to Texas, had Harris County used its internal mechanisms, would not be $4,800. It would probably not even be half of that, quite frankly, but that's just my conjecture.
Can I respond, Judge?
Mhm.
So just for the sake of the record, it was April 9th, 2024, that the docket notice was emailed to Mr. Pruitt. I've been in this division for 9 years. We've always sent Mr. Pruitt email through that exact method for the docket notice. And then a week prior to the docket, we send out the notice.
Leave Carl alone.
Judgments that we intend to enter, along with a copy of the judgment to the same email. And Mr. Pruitt responds on other.
I don't like
dockets
her.
and other cases. So just want the record to be clear that notice was sent of that. I do not believe that any new information or anything that would justify a new trial has happened or occurred since the entry of the final judgment. So I don't believe the motion for new trial is appropriate. When it comes to what is reasonable return cost, this is a very shockingly unlitigated issue. There is one case that goes back from the Court of Criminal Appeals to 1937, pretty much just stating that whatever fees are incurred are what are reasonable because there is no extra money pocketed by the state. I have a copy of that case if the judge would like to see it.
I'd like to see it, and can you give the citation for the record as well?
Yes, it is Scott v. State, 102 Southwest 2nd, 434. if the sheriff's office finds that $4,800 is reasonable enough that they pay it out of their own pocket regularly on other cases, I don't know why it would not be reasonable in this situation. It is not up to the luxury of the sheriff's office to send their own people all the time. If we don't get them in time, then they are released, and that's really what it's about. The priority is getting the defendant returned if they still have an active warrant and not released. So the state would argue that a motion retrial is not appropriate and that no new facts have been presented. And even if the reasonableness was to come into question, that it is
And
reasonable and
accent.
necessary because they were the costs that were incurred and paid by the sheriff's office for the defendant.
The defendant return.
We set this case for a hearing. What day is that?
It was,
I know you requested a record this morning.
I requested a record this morning, but I came over here
What day?
about
No.
2 weeks ago, Judge.
I believe it was early last week that I received notice. I can check.
Right.
What?
I came over here about 2 weeks ago.
Can we go off the record and figure?
No, I'm about to make my ruling. I'm about to make my ruling. Let's stay on the record. The motion for new trial will be denied. Okay, we're off the record. I just needed to complete this form.
He tried.
Figure out what date you came in, Mr.
And now just blah, 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 blah is left. So, like, every time Judge Fleischer gives out a PR bond, if they flee and they have to be brought back, they're looking at a huge bill. The guy on the stand said, what did he say? $4,500 just to get them. Like, that didn't, it's $4,800 here because that's when they put the miles on. They put the miles on after that initial fee. If they're a felon, it's $4,500 just to get them. I don't know if it's just a misdemeanor. I guess that's why. I mean, they pay the money to this company, but then they try to get that money back from, court costs and things like that. The person has to pay this back, but it takes years for someone to pay back a $4,000 court cost bill when they're only putting in $10 here and 10, because the court system, they allow you to just pay like $10 here and $10 there, as long as you don't pay. Like, if you don't pay anything for years, then you get in trouble. But if you're just throwing a little bit of money in here and there, you're fine. Do you think they would need overnight lodging for a 7-hour car ride? No, you can drive 7 hours. 12 hours you can drive. I guess that's a point. If you're collecting a prisoner and you have to deal with their mouth for 7, almost 8 hours. Yeah, that's why. Because their mouths never stop. I didn't do nothing. You let me go. I'll give you $100 if you let me go. I didn't do nothing wrong. Nothing. All right. And just so you know, that was earlier today, and so is this. Carl's in Judge Fleischer's courtroom today, too. So, oh my God, guys, look. Court Vibes is on. I hate her. She's so annoying. Hey, it's time to get normal again. Time to go back to Harris County, Texas, from Harris County, Texas. Where do we begin? We begin further back. That was it. That's where we begin. Her. That's good enough.
Monday, So you have an arraignment? No, it's not gonna hit us. It's going that way.
Ellie, did you hear that? It's not gonna hit him, it's going that way.
What is your last name? Jeffrey? Jeffrey,
Page 16.
thanks. Okay, Miss Jeffrey, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On August 31st, 2024, law enforcement officers observed the defendant's vehicle run a red light at the intersection of Washington Avenue and Houston Avenue, which is a public road in Harris County, Texas. A traffic stop was initiated. The law enforcement officer made contact with the defendant driver. The law enforcement officer observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, bloodshot red eyes, and slurred speech. The defendant stated that she was coming from a bar and got lost and was going home. The defendant stated that she did not have much to drink. The law enforcement officer had the defendant step out and observe the defendant to have difficulty exiting her vehicle and poor balance. The defendant stated that she drank 1 tequila sunrise. Standard field sobriety tests were administered and the officer observed 6 out of 6 clues for the horizontal gaze test. 4 out of 8 clues for a walking turn and 2 out of 4 clues for a one-leg stand. The defendant rated her intoxication as a 1 out of 10. The defendant was read DIC and consented to a breath test. The results came back 0.106 and 0.104. The defendant was identified with her Texas driver's license.
Okay. Ms. Jeffrey, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. So you do or do not have a Texas driver license? Do you have valid liability insurance in your name? Okay, you're on felony probation. Now you've picked up a new case. Do you want to go to prison? You're begging for it. You know, you're on a deferred for a 1 to 4. So you're looking at 2 to 10 in the penitentiary. You picking up this case, they can revoke your probation upstairs and put you in prison for 10 years flat. That's what you're looking at now. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm telling you now, man, I'm going to test you like crazy. The first instance you show me that you cannot control yourself, I'm going to control you, and I'm telling you, I will put you in jail, make your bond sky high. Do you understand?
And Your Honor, as a condition of her bond upstairs, the court is going to be ordering an interlock in the interim while her probation issue
Okay.
plays out.
We'll do the same thing, you know, just out of an abundance of caution as well. From here on forth, you're not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock. I'll give you a week to put it on. If I find that you drive a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock, at that point, I'm going to lose my shice and I'm really going to make your bond high. Do you understand? Yes, we still don't have pretrial. Sucks. No pretrial again, huh?
No, I just sent it.
Okay.
Judge, we're heading upstairs to a felony court next, so we'll get her to sign those pre-trial bond conditions.
She's
and
gonna
I
have
can
to wait a
send-
while just because.
Right, I can send her back down.
Does she have court upstairs now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Get her to come back down and sign them here as well, Judge. If that's all right.
You want to take her now?
Yes, Judge, I was going to. We're gonna
Okay.
get a reset.
We, right. You have to come back to sign your conditions. If you don't, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. So just make a note that we need to see her back at some point. If you don't, I mean, we're done here by 12:30. You got to be back before then at some point to sign your conditions. Okay, all right. So, yeah, I trust you, Val. So, all right, we're gonna be signing a reset and then we'll see you here momentarily.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Next is,
What about Joe? You see Joe?
yes, of course I see him. His is.
Smell?
No.
Joe, do you have an
Page
arraignment?
19, Martinez.
Arraignment, Your Honor. It's a DWI. Good morning, Judge.
See you.
Good to see you, Judge.
Good morning, Ms. Martinez.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On September 1st, 2024, an officer was dispatched to a major crash involving 4 vehicles on West County Road in Harris County, Texas. A captain with the Harris County Fire Department who responded to the scene, observed the defendant to be the driver and the sole occupant of the vehicle. The witness also observed the defendant sitting behind the wheel. The defendant then got out of the vehicle and began urinating in public. The officer observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, watery, bloodshot eyes, and slurred speech. The defendant was disoriented, swaying, staggering, stumbling while standing, using the vehicle for support while standing, and was throwing up the entire time. The defendant admitted to drinking a bottle of liquor but did not specify what type. The officer observed a completely empty 23.5-ounce bottle of
Please do not show body cam footage, please, please.
melon sour, which had 13.9% of alcohol on the floor of the vehicle, and a bottle of
Mad Dog 2020.
bottle of 2020 with a slight amount of liquid left in the bottle.
So are you telling me that he's drinking while he's driving?
Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. The defendant was unable to keep his head straight and his eyes open to complete the HGN. For the walk-in turn, the officer observed 8 out of 8 clues and 4 out of 4 clues for the one-leg stand. The defendant was vomiting throughout the entire interaction and inside of the patrol car. The officer did not read the DIC due to the defendant's level of intoxication and his unwillingness to cooperate. A blood search warrant.
Mr. Martinez, you're lucky that in the state that you work, you didn't kill someone. I would hope that you recognize it's elementary that you're not supposed to have alcohol in the car while you are driving. I am now taking away your privilege to drive. You are not allowed to drive for any reason whatsoever. You will be signing an affidavit. This is a promise that you're making to me, that you are not to drive for any reason. I don't care if there's a burning building with 15 cats that you have to save or children. If I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing a minimum of 6 months in jail every time you drive, because I can hold you in contempt and slap you with 180 days. Every time you drive will be an offense in and of itself. As much as I love Joe, I don't give a rat's behind who you are. You get into a car and drive, I'm going to let loose. Do you understand? And the other thing that you need to understand, that when you get charged with the open container and they allege it in your information, it's a minimum of 5 days in jail to any sentence that you do. 5 days flat. No 2 for 1, no 3 for 1. Do you understand? Are you telling me that as soon as he gets out of the car, he just starts urinating like in front of the officer?
Yes.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 19.
He's 19.
You know that, Mr. Martinez, what you do now will affect you for the next 40 years. Right before I came here, I was watching a video of another judge where there was a young man, same age as you, pleading guilty to 10 years in prison because he had killed someone on the road while driving. And you know what he was asking the judge? Judge, can you please let me out so I can get my affairs in order? You know what the judge said? Gave him a big, fat, middle, you know what. I'm going to tell you now, if I find that you consume alcohol for any reason, I'm going to lock you up and I will put you in a rehab facility myself. Do you understand, sir? And so as it stands, no alcohol, no drugs, random urinalysis, no driving. What's he doing now in life?
Judge, he did have a valid license and insurance at the time.
Yeah,
I'm just working right now.
okay. What do you do in life right now?
I work in a company of sheet metal, duct work.
Did you graduate from high school?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, Your Honor.
I'm counting on you to stay in contact with Joe. I don't want any more issues from you. If I find any one thing, I'm just gonna lock you up and I'm gonna throw away the key. That's it. You don't?
I remember when I barely kind of a little bit remember when I was 19 because yeah, there was a lot of drinking involved at 19. I mean that I don't remember like I never drove. I drove. I had a Mustang. I had a great car. Um, but when I went out, I didn't drive there. I went with people. I always went with people. But man, there was so much alcohol involved. At 19, you don't think about anything else. You think that you're invincible. And this guy, oh man, that could have been me. I don't think so. I don't think I would have driven, but it could at 19, when I was drunk, I would do anything. I'd be like, "Heck yeah, give me your car keys. I'll run to the Penn Supreme is was our I'll run to Penn Supreme and get us some donuts, you know?"
Drive whatsoever. I really hope you take this to heart. If you drove here, you can't drive home. I don't care what's going on in your life. Do not drive. Okay, Joe.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
All right,
Judge.
guys.
Come on over.
That I never did. Nope, nope, no, never. I never did that. Fletcher, I worked in a bar when I was 19 too.
Good morning. Are you, Ms. Syed, do you have a case with us by chance? You need to unmute.
I'm sorry about that, Your Honor.
That's okay. What do you got?
I have a non-disclosure that's set for today, and I just wanted to reset because I'm sick and I haven't been able to discuss the matter with my client, see how he wants to proceed.
What's the last name?
His last name is Volino.
What is it?
Volino, Volino.
Great state. What's your position? Did you see it? Volino, did it?
I'm drinking tonight then.
So the state, normally if the state is unopposed, I grant it just because I really like it when people try to better themselves. I have to see why they're opposed. I'm certainly okay with giving you a reset. How long would you like? Oh, this is the one that I remember this one. Right.
I can only think of shots and not drinks. I'm sure I drank drinks, but all I can think of is in the snake bites, buttery nipples, which back then I guess we called them butterballs. Um, Jolly Ranchers, but not the same as the drink now. This was a shot back in the 80s. It was really good. Oh gosh. I don't know what drinks I drank. I know I drank Slow Gin Fizz, but that was like my third one down. I can't remember what drinks Long Island iced teas we had, but they weren't yummy. I didn't think they were yummy at all. And I know my first legal drink in a bar when I turned 21 was a blue kamikaze. Man, that was the best. That was the best. I worked at a comedy club as a cocktail server. So after I got off work that night, they poured me my first over 21-year-old drink, this blue kamikaze in this nice, cool little glass. But I started working there when I was 19 and stayed there for a while. The reason why I started working there was because my younger sister had a job there as a bartender. Um, and they had the male strippers coming in, and they didn't have enough staff, cocktail servers for the male strippers. So my sister calls me up, and I'm 19. She's like, "Hey, can you come out and help us on Wednesday?" I came in that Wednesday and never left. So this is where I work now. We had comedy every Wednesday, and then we had, the male strippers coming all the time. It was great. It was great. It was a comedy club. The strippers were just bonus. Oh, thanks, Charlotte.
And I spoke to the state, I think like last time, so I know their opposition. So I think we just need a little more time to decide what he wants to do.
Okay, but well, I'll give you one more reset, but that's it. After that, we have to have a hearing to either grant or deny, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. I understand.
How long do you want?
If we could have 2 weeks, Your Honor.
Sure.
that would-
Bottom of 30. 9:23, you say? 9:23-ish.
Yes,
What, I mean, you pick that week. I don't care. Whatever you want. Anything but Friday.
okay. If I could have that Thursday, that would be great, Your Honor. I'm set for trial.
Is that the same? What day? Is that the same day?
9:26.
Okay. It's yours, and then we'll see you on that time, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Judge, page 10, Fowler, come on up. Okay.
Good morning, Ms. Fowler. You're charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On September 1st, 2024, a law enforcement officer was dispatched to a family disturbance. Upon law enforcement arrival, the complainant and the defendant were standing on the sidewalk near the parking lot having a verbal argument. The complainant stated that when the defendant got home, she was accusing her of cheating and wanted to go through her phone. The defendant then grabbed the complainant's house keys and threw them at her, striking her in the face, causing pain. The complainant stated that the defendant also started grabbing and shoving her. The complainant stated that she pushed the defendant. The complainant and the defendant are married.
Did you say that the complainant initially threw the keys?
No, I'm sorry. The defendant grabbed the complainant's house keys and threw them at the complainant.
Got it. Okay, so that was the initial,
Yes.
that was the initial, got it. Okay. Ms. Fowler, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Does she have any prior assaults, anything?
No prior assaults, Judge. There's just more for noise ordinance violation.
That's it? Okay. There's a protective order that has been issued in this case that identifies Shaquilla Fowler as a protected
come in.
individual.
I've
Please
seen you
get to
come
know
in
this
here.
Please get to know this protective order, because if you do something to violate it, the state can and will file additional cases against you. I am now issuing, as a condition of your bond, do not have any contact and don't have possession of any weapons. This will survive the entirety of this case. Do you understand? What do you do for a living, man?
For an insurance company.
How much money do you make a month?
For senior week when I was 18, I was going to the beach with some friends, and the beer store, okay, I don't know if this is everywhere. In Pennsylvania, you could only buy beer. It changed since then, but only recently. You could only buy beer from a beer store. You couldn't buy it in like grocery stores or things like that. It had to be from a beer store, and they kept like banker's hours. So by the time I was ready to go get my beer for senior week, when I was 18, the beer store had closed. So my mother called up the manager of the beer store, because I guess, she had his phone number. And I was like, Gary, can you just go back in and load up her trunk real quick? I'll pay you on Tuesday or whatever. Just she's gonna stop by, meet her at the beer store, load her up, and so she can get down to the beach. And he did. He met me there. Drinking age is 21. He met me there and he loaded up my trunk for me. I don't even remember what he put in there. Beer, just beer. I don't know what it was. You know, it was senior week. I don't remember what I was drinking. I was just drinking a lot. And and then, I put my Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction cassette into my little port and off I went to the beach.
Okay, who do you live with?
It's fine.
Is it this person?
No.
Okay.
I stay with my best friend.
Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer? Okay, we're gonna reset your case, give you time to do that. I'll give you a month. When you come back, please have a lawyer. I'm gonna have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, I'm gonna have you take your seat in the jury box. I'll get your bond conditions, we'll have you sign it, and after that, you'll be free to go. All right? Please. You file no contact, no weapons, please.
Judge, page 15, Gutierrez. Come on up.
Morning, Judge, how are you?
Hey, good morning. You ready?
Yeah, so.
Good morning, Mr. Gutierrez. So you were charged with driving while intoxicated. You were facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be
Nothing
appointed to you.
comfort all the time. Yep.
December 1st, 2024, a law enforcement officer observed the defendant's vehicle run a red light at Airline Drive in Hill Road in Harris County, Texas. A traffic stop was initiated. The law enforcement officer made contact with the defendant, who was the driver. The law enforcement officer observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage and bloodshot eyes. The defendant stated that he consumed 4 12-ounce Corona beers prior to driving. The standard field sobriety tests were administered. The officer observed 6 out of 6 clues for a horizontal gaze test, 6 out of 8 for a walk-in turn, and 3 out of 4 for one-leg stand. The defendant was read to DIC and consented to a breath test. The results came back 0.141 and 0.142. The defendant was identified with his Honduras passport.
Okay. Any prior DWIs? Okay. Mr. Gutierrez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a Texas driver license, sir?
No.
You are not allowed to drive. I'm making that a condition of your bond. Tell me, are you in this country with or without permission?
Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
Immigration will get me.
Very good. I don't know why you're laughing, because that's not funny. You'll sit in custody for the next 9 months waiting for immigration to completely harass the hell out of you and your family, because that's the one who will really suffer, not you. You'll just sit in custody, twiddling your thumbs for the next 9 months while your family's out there suffering, trying to get money somehow. Perhaps they'll do something you don't really like just to get money because of your boneheaded moves. Don't make any more. I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs and not to drive. You are now being warned. Any more moves that you make like this, I'm going to put you in jail. And if you're unlucky enough, you're going to be there for an extremely long time. Do you understand?
Yes.
When I mean no driving, I mean no driving at all for any reason. I don't care what your excuse is. Now, you have a lawyer. It is your responsibility to stay in touch with Marcos. He will tell you when you have to come back to court. If he tells you that he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, Your bond will be revoked. The reason you got out of jail so quick is because we gave you a PR bond. You will not get any more. So if you sit in jail for anything more than 4 hours, immigration will find you, they will put a detainer on you. For now, I'm gonna have you come up here, swear to us that you're not gonna drive. You'll get to Victoria to sign a reset. And then you're eventually gonna have to wait for pretrial services, and after that, you'll be free to go. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
Have fun.
Excuse.
Judge, page 24. Anita, come on up.
You speak English, sir? Mr. Pineda, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On September 2nd, 2024, law enforcement officers were dispatched to a major crash at 999 Sandman Street, which is a public road in Harris County, Texas. The law enforcement officer made contact with the witness. The witness stated that the defendant crashed into the back of the witness's vehicle, tried to keep going and hit the witness's vehicle again. The witness stated that the defendant asked him not to please say anything about the defendant driving or doing drugs, and asked if they could settle things themselves. The law enforcement officer observed a strong odor of alcoholic beverage and glossy eyes. Standard field sobriety test showed 6 out of 6 signs for HGN, 6 out of 8 for walk and turn, and 3 out of 4 for one leg stand. The defendant was read as
Jägermeister.
PIC and consented to a breath test. The results came back 0.188 and 0.190. The defendant admitted to drinking at or around September 1st, 2024 at 10:30 p.m. and having tequila shots. The defendant was identified with his Texas driver's license.
Any drugs found in the car?
No, I don't see that. Judge.
Any other prior DWI?
No, sir.
Mr. Pineda, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you run his license, please, guys? Do you have valid liability insurance in your name? Sorry? Okay, I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using any kind of dope whatsoever, any kind of alcohol, I will put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand? I'm going to have you go to Victoria now, sign a reset. After that, you'll have to meet with pre-trial for your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to wait for your lawyer and back. We don't have pre-trial now, so it's going to be a while. So just sign a reset, and then we'll just have you take a seat in the jury box.
Driver's license is eligible.
Great. Thanks. No alcohol, no dope, random UAs.
Page 25 and 26. Wrestler, come on up. Joseph,
Take your time, sir. Just like Lena's. Lena's took her sweet time too, you know?
I'm glad she showed up. All right, go ahead and have a seat in the chair, please.
Come on up, sir. It's okay.
Did he say Lena?
Wrestle.
RESSEL.
Come on up, sir. Mr. Wrestle, you speak English, sir?
Yes.
Sir, you're charged with interference with the duties of a public servant. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine on that charge. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On July 3rd, 2024, in full uniform in a marked patrol vehicle, an officer was dispatched to a disturbance call at a Taco Bell in Harris County, Texas. The complainant, a manager, stated that After the defendant purchased a cup of soda and sat inside the lobby, the defendant began to harass other people inside the restaurant. He was later seen washing his undergarments and clothing inside of the bathroom sink. The complainant stated that she asked the defendant to leave the business several times. However, the defendant yelled at the complainant and stated that he was not leaving. The complainant stated that she would like to press charges.
That happens so often. People wash their clothes in the sinks at my bar, and I don't know why, but it just happens often. I never done. Have you guys ever walked into a restaurant and washed your clothes? Now, I remember when I used to work at Roy Rogers, like homeless people would come and wash their clothes. That's fine. I understand. But these are normal people that just go into the bathroom and wash their clothes.
Charges if the defendant refused to leave. Officers approached the defendant and informed him that the business did not want him on the premises any longer and that he had to leave or that he would be going to jail. The defendant stated that the location is public, so he was allowed to be there. The officers gave the defendant numerous opportunities to leave the premises, but he continued to yell and was actively refusing to leave. After multiple refusals, officers then lawfully ordered the defendant to stand and put his hands behind his back. The defendant again refused. The officers then notified the defendant that at the time, if he continued to ignore the orders, he would be subject to be tasered. The defendant continued to yell and tucked his arms close to his body in order to avoid being handcuffed. The officers continued to try and get his hands behind his back with force, but were unable to do so. The officer then told the defendant that if he continued to resist, he was going to be tased. The officer then ordered the defendant to put his hands behind his back again. The defendant continued to resist. The defendant was drive stunned 6 times, but still refused to put his hands behind his back.
You said they tased him 6 times? Is that what you said? Wow.
With the arrival and the help of another officer, officers were able to get the defendant detained.
So what I see on July 4th, he picks up an interference in this criminal trespass on this case. I guess he gets out. With us, you just take off. We issue the warrant, right? He doesn't come for the arraignment, and then he picks now up an evading arrest. So what happened on that case now?
That one on
I'm not happy with you, Mr. Russell.
On July 17, 2024, an officer was dispatched to an unrelated call located at 3125 South Loop West in Houston, Harris County, Texas. While at this location, an officer identified the defendant by sight and sound from previous encounters. The officers began a consensual encounter with the defendant who stated that he missed his court date. The officers then ran the defendant's information and learned that he had an outstanding warrant in Harris County for interference with public duties. The officers informed him of his outstanding warrant, and the defendant attempted to flee on foot, running into a moving lane of traffic on the southbound lane of Main Street. The defendant ran for approximately 15 feet. The officers were able to catch the defendant, and he was transported and booked without further incident.
But he ran on the main street. Are you trying to kill yourself? Are you really trying to kill yourself? You know what happens when you run on a major thoroughfare like that? You become Swiss cheese. Mr. Russell, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward on all of your cases. And I'm going to tell you what now. I'm not down with you getting 3 PR bonds in a row and then you pick up 3 cases. Guess what happens? Guess. I'm taking you in. That's what's going to happen. Goes with you. Don't send him down. Can you please appoint him a lawyer?
That was the last arraignment. Are you ready for TJ?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You're gonna have to stay for it. Whatever's on the list.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Judge Payne. Judge Page 18, Leah, Rivera.
Good morning, sir. Do you have a lawyer today? You do? Who is your lawyer? Who?
Translator, sir. I speak a little English.
¿Quién es un abogado? ¿Por qué no?
Para.
Yo te dije la última vez que tenías que tener un abogado. Ok, vamos a posponer tu caso ahora. Tú tienes que contratar a un abogado. Te voy a dar un mes más. ¿Tú tienes una licencia para manejar?
Sí.
Ahora no. Posible que no. Si tú esperas mucho, el DPS va a suspender tu licencia para manejar. Can you guys run his license to see? No puedes manejar. Ya lo suspendieron. Right. Ahora vas a firmar un papel prometiendo que no vas a manejar. Si yo te pillo manejando, te voy a poner en la cárcel. No, no tienes no tienes licencia. Ya. Te voy a dar más, te voy a dar un mes. Si tú quieres, te puedo dar más tiempo de una semana. He's asking for 1 week for me to postpone it, pero te puedo dar más si tú quieres. No hay problema.
Hay una semana porque yo tengo que ir a mi trabajo en mi carro, entonces quisiera hacerlo.
Manejes. Tú no tienes licencia. Te digo, si tú manejes, te voy a poner en la cárcel. No me importa tu excusa.
Oye,
¿Entiendes, Méndez?
yo sé, sí. Lo que le digo es una semana mientras más rápido para presentarme con ustedes y volver a hacerlo de mi licencia.
1 week, ya. Vas a firmar aquí prometiendo que no vas a manejar. Te vamos a dar tiempo y te vemos en una semana. Okay.
All right, Judge Page 19, Manning, come on up.
Good morning, Mr. Manning. Do you have a lawyer today? What are you doing about that?
I'm looking forward to today.
You need more time? I can give you more time if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. Your case is getting up there, though. It's 50 days old. At some point, we're gonna move forward. So you need a lawyer to represent you. Yeah, your case is 46 days old now. But the next time you come back, it's gonna be about 75, 80. That's it. You understand? All right, I'll have you sign a receipt. We'll see you in a month.
Page 22, Murillo Diego.
Good morning, sir. Do you have a lawyer today? Tell me what you're doing about that. Tell me what you're doing about that.
I'm trying to hire one, but my finances just won't allow me right now. So I was gonna ask you, can I get a corner point?
Why won't your finances allow you to do this?
And the bond I had to make and just my bills and
Your
stuff.
bond was $100 and we gave you a free bond.
I actually
So you didn't make anything.
had another charge. I had an out of county warrant that I had to bond out on.
Uh-oh. Did you pick up a new case?
No, sir, it was an
Uh-oh.
auto charge.
Uh-oh. Murillo. Can you run his NCIC, please? Murillo. Did he pick up a new case? Please. He says he had to make an out-of-county bond. Please. Since 2015, you've had a burglary of a habitation, assault of a family member, unlawful restraint, terroristic threat, retaliation, violation of protective order, fraud, 5 items or less, interference, credit card abuse, and now you have a possession case. How many court-appointed lawyers have you had on all of those cases? How, you're not answering my question.
I'm not sure on the exact number.
Judge, the new charges, possession of marijuana, of Montgomery County on, August 30th, 2020.
You picked up a new case while you're on bond for this case, right?
Yes, sir.
Guess what happens now? That's right. It goes with you. I'll appoint your lawyer now.
Right, Judge. Next is page 23. 19 funds.
Was he, can you find out the, hey, can you find out the facts of that case? Because he's driving, because he signed a no driving affidavit with me. If he's driving in that case, I'm gonna light him up. Please, somehow. Do you mind? Please? I can't otherwise, you know, but if he's driving, I'm gonna lose it. Okay, what was that?
Page 23. Top of page 23.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning to
Do you have a lawyer today?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you're doing about that.
I've been trying to find an employment. I work with my mom at a tax office, making $10 an hour, and I'm also trying to find more employment, which I start training next week.
Have you have you talked to any lawyers at all?
I have, but it's just I really can't afford a like 2,000 to 5,000 lawyer. If I could please apply for.
Tell me this, how many lawyers did you actually talk to?
I've talked to about like 4, and they were pretty pricey.
Understand that it's like car shopping, right? It's like, and most lawyers will negotiate with you and they'll put you on a payment plan where you can pay as you go. You see. How much money do you make a month, Ms. Negan Fine?
I would say less than 1,500.
Who do you live with?
Currently, I am living with my mother, but she doesn't make as much as well.
Your children?
I'm sorry?
Your children? I'll give you an application. Let me take a look at it. I need to know about everything about you. I need to know what kind of car you drive, stocks, bonds, IRAs, bank accounts, how much money you make a month from any source, how much money your mother makes, because it's based on your household income, not just you. And I'll see that if you qualify, okay? It's based on poverty guidelines. So that's, it's not me, okay? Please.
Right this way. All right, Judge, next is page 34. Wells, come on up.
Good morning, Mr. Wells. Do you have a lawyer today?
Learned a lot.
Okay, who's your lawyer? Okay, just take a seat, we'll wait for him. No, he says the lawyer went and back to make a copy of his license. Yes.
Judge, that was the last paycheck.
Good morning, Mr. Chavez.
Hi, good morning, Your Honor.
Hey, how are you?
Doing okay in Galveston right now.
What was your client's name again?
Diego Cortez, Your Honor. I was told that he had court on Friday. I was supposed to be there, and I'm supposed to be there today.
Yeah.
But
So
last time I was in court on August, I was told next court date for me would be September 16th.
the problem is that he had bond violations. Diego Cortez, come up. So as it stands, Mr. Cortez, I ordered you as a condition of your bond not to consume any kind of illegal drugs. And I told you as of August 15th, 2024, not to use and that you would be tested. Do you remember this? Oh. Do we know if, okay, there we go. Hey, Trennis, thanks for coming. We've got quite a number of cases we need your help on. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I'm gonna send Mr. Cortez now for a drug test. Please, I'd like to know what, if anything, is in your system. Okay, just hang tight. I want to know what, if anything, is in your system. I hope you're not using, because I don't want to have to put you in jail. All I'm asking you to do is be clean. What else are you doing with yourself?
I'm working.
No, you didn't get your GED, right?
Yes, I do.
Or you have your GED or you don't?
I got the diploma.
What's going on with that?
I don't know, like how it's playing, like good.
Why not?
Because my English, like, can I say in Spanish?
Yeah.
Like, ya terminé mi diploma y todo, ya. Ya terminé mi diploma y todo, ya.
So you graduated?
Y en una academia. En una academia.
David, Mr. Chavez, do you speak Spanish?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, because I'm hoping that you understand. You understand, Pavel, right? Okay.
Yeah, he said I got my diploma, and then he said from an academy.
So he has his diploma, high school diploma, or no?
So, ¿tú tienes el documento que ya terminaste high school?
En total.
Yes.
La academia me lo dio. Yo tengo en foto y en la casa.
He has a photo of the diploma that he received.
En la casa.
in the house.
¿Por qué no lo tienes aquí?
Porque cuando la primera vez que vine lo traje. Y
The first time he came, he brought it.
Quiero que lo traes porque lo quiero ver la próxima vez. All right, tome asiento, te voy a mandar para hacer un examen. All right, tome asiento allá.
Your Honor, is the bond violation report?
No,
under
it's
images?
not. It's. I need to look further into this. Can you do me this? I assume you have elsewhere to go, right?
I can drive right now. It's like an hour away. I can be there in
No,
like
no,
an
no,
hour
no,
and a
no,
half.
no.
if need be.
Chat me. What I'm saying is chat me your cell phone and then I'll get a hold of you when I have a result and then I'll call you. So you don't have to sit here and wait.
Okay, will do.
Okay? And then I'll
Okay.
text you when we have some kind of update and we'll go from there.
Okay, I'll send it in the
ultimately
chat or I'll email it to the coordinator.
Whatever. Ultimately, I want to make sure that after 30 days that he's not using. That's the end game here, right?
Okay.
We're not quite there yet. So, I mean, I'm going to wait for something like 35 to 40 days.
Okay, understood, Your Honor.
Yeah. But I'll chat you here in a second, all right?
Okay, I'll email the coordinator and I'll be aware of my phone in case it rings or anything. Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, David. Anything else? Okay. Yeah. And then I have got like 9 violations, so. Good morning, Miss Obitar. You're muted.
Just maybe a week or two, just to try to get the portable.
There's only one, but I'm having to pick up some drop balls. For today, I have
Happy lawyer.
Mr. Mobley. Antoine Mobley. There's a BVR for curfew violations, Judge.
Come up, Mr. Mobley.
Oh, sorry. Are you one of the post bars?
See, a happy lawyer.
Congratulations on graduating law school. It was annoying for you, I'm sure it was for me. Yes, sir, no, sir. So it's BMV and fraudulent possession of identifying information, single incident. The allegation is that my client, I think, went into, I believe, an unlocked car and then took credit cards.
Okay, my problem is that we gave him a curfew, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Yes, Judge. So most of the violations are transitory, leaving the house and returning 8 minutes later, like just going to a car. I have my doubts about those actually being violations. There's only one where it's not that, which is listing him as coming home at 3:47 a.m.
Oh,
I personally have not had that level of energy for a very long time to come home at 4 a.m. My client wished me to come and, this is the fellow who I came in to talk to you about removing or changing these restrictions because he's got a job at a cleaning service going into businesses at night. I don't think that was the issue in this instance, but this is the fellow who I spoke to you about prior. Felony originally had a curfew and has already taken it off. He's in high school and working.
You're in high school. What on earth are you doing out at 4 a.m?
I have a basketball room and I live in a cul-de-sac. I have a basketball room. I'm not sure how far am I supposed to go.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Yes, Judge.
I'm sending him for a drug test right now.
Okay. Yes, Judge.
I want to know what, if anything, and I'm going to tell you now, I'm not happy with you. I'm not happy that you're going out at 4 a.m, but I want to confirm or dispel my suspicion of why. So let's see firsthand. I want to see sending I'm sending you for a drug test. I want to know what, if anything, is in your system, and we'll go from there.
I spoke with Mr. Lane. He last tested clean 8/27-ish. But we'll send him now, Judge.
Mr. Mobley, you must come back to court.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, man.
Go ahead and sign for your receipt,
I'm off to see you later.
What day this week do you want to bring them in?
There he is. All right, go ahead and stand up there. This one's Dave.
Good morning, Mr. Williams. Do you have a lawyer today?
I literally just talked to one outside because I came up the bread to put the money to hire one, but he just went MIA. I honestly don't know. So I just talked to one outside. He just gave me
Time?
please.
Yes, sir. Well, have you signed another reset, but your case is getting old. Next time, that's it. You understand? All right, get on it. It's the last reset.
I came up with the bread to hire one.
Washington for a plea.
Okay. John, I still want to talk to him, please. Do you mind? Yeah, can you bring out when we're done here? Good morning, Mr. Washington.
How you doing?
Mr. Washington, you're charged with criminal trespass. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. What have you guys worked out?
Time served 3 for 1, Judge.
Is it really 3 for 1?
3 for 10 is what it is.
Okay, that's it. All right. It's 3 days in jail, credit for the 10 days that you've done. Is this what you want to do, Mr. Washington?
Yes, sir.
You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you accept this agreement, it will go on your record. You can never change this or undo this. Is this what you want to do?
Sir.
You must understand from now on, you will be facing a minimum of 30 days in jail to any new charges you pick up. You understand?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the offense of criminal trespass? Guilty or not guilty?
Because I did it. So I can't say that I didn't do it.
Say it again?
Guilty.
I mean, if you're not guilty, then we can't take your plea of guilty. You either are guilty or you're not guilty. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I said not guilty.
Are you guilty, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll find you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in jail. I'll give you credit for the 10 days that you've done. Good luck to you, sir. Hi, Anna.
All right, guys. Time to get ready for court for today. My 2 male cats are fighting and they need me to break them up. Show them some love. They're gonna love my hugs right now. They're in a really bad mood. I can't wait. Yes, it's too soon though, Micah. It's too soon. It's just too soon. Guys, thank you so much for coming out today. We learned a lot about extradition. which I thought was so cool. I really did. I wonder what Carl's going to teach us next. That guy, he keeps stepping it up. I did get Reese today, but I didn't have time to look through it. So we'll see if we can get some Judge Reese tomorrow. Thanks for coming out, guys. You are the best, the bestest best. It's just the best part of my day, every single day. Behave. Jasmine, go to school. And I will talk to y'all tomorrow.
Got these lights that goes digital dreams. Through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Freedom tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle, she lights the way. Her eyes hear a sky so blue. In her jokes, there's a truth so true. With extreme, she brings the light. Turns dark days into bright. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Streaming tales late into the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray,